Hey everybody, I'm here today with Ben Kvalo, who's the founder and CEO of Midwest Games. How you doing today, Ben?
Doing really well. It's been a fun and busy day, and yeah, a lot of things happening.
Awesome. Are you calling in from your office or do you just have stuff like that? Yeah, it's at your office. All right, awesome. Well, let's jump in with our first question here.
Yeah, it's my
So,
office.
you attended the University of Wisconsin Green Bay and earned your bachelor's in business administration management with a minor in communication. Had you always planned on entering the video game industry, or is it something that you kind of just stumbled into as you went along?
Yeah, it would be something that I definitely stumbled into. I didn't expect to actually work in games. That was never even a thought in my mind, especially being in Wisconsin when I was growing up, there wasn't many companies here. There weren't many opportunities, and especially in my field as a more business focused. I'm not a coder. I'm not an artist, but I come at it from the business lens of things and combining my creativity with my business sense. And so, yeah, it was never something I thought about it. And really until I got to my senior year of college and I had my capstone course, which was a mergers and acquisitions course, where we chose a video game publisher and then acquired another company as kind of an exercise. And at that point, I learned a lot more about this thing called publishing, the business end of games, and that became very attractive toward me. But I graduated during a recession, and it was there weren't a lot of opportunities out in the environment, and so I ended up searching kind of what do I really want to do, and then I ended up landing a job with a company called 2K, which was at the time a pretty small publisher. Um, Doing a lot of like more double A and sports games and got in early with them and was very fortunate because that was a pathway into the larger industry.
Awesome. You mentioned 2K, and my next question was, you've kind of got a wealth of experience in the industry from 2K to Blizzard, Netflix films, and games. How did your time at these companies and your experiences at these companies kind of help prepare you or kind of lay the foundation for founding Midwest Games?
Yeah, each of the different experiences gave me, the good, the bad, the things I want to do, the things I want to avoid doing. It helped build my skill set over time. And I think, the funny thing was, even when I first interviewed at 2K, one of the things I said, you know, uh, very in a very naive kind of way is eventually I want to be a CEO someday. Um, and I was very confident and all that stuff. And it was funny as as I went through, as I gained some of my experience, the more experience I gained, the more I realized how complex this whole thing is. The less like I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go be a CEO. I was really focused um around just continuing to do my job, learn more in each of my areas. And, I was just fortunate that I was able to get exposed to so many different things at 2K. I worked in kind of just general operations across the company. So I worked in the things that people don't think about that exist in the video game space, finance and HR and working to connect marketing and product development and working with the developers, working with the technology end. I helped to build out the central technology group at 2K. And then I spent a lot of time with global marketing and spending a lot of time living in London, Paris, Madrid, Munich, Amsterdam, Singapore, and then I got to jump to Blizzard and work in esports, and then I jumped to Netflix and worked in film, and then helped to build their games division and worked in subscription and mobile, and so I ended up getting a lot of diverse experience by jumping to these different opportunities. and that really set me up well to be able to come in and help and really like lead this build of Midwest games and help kind of bring this thing that doesn't exist in a strong way in the Midwest publishing to the Midwest. And how I was able to do that was just my network that I created over my career, and then just be me being willing to just jump and take a risk and go out on my own, which I learned from being jumping from 2K to Blizzard to Netflix and taking risks, knowing not everything would work out.
Shit. Um, you mentioned that when you did your interview with 2K that you you told them that you wanted to be a CEO. Do you remember how they responded to that? Like, did they kind of chuckle, or what was their reaction to that?
Yeah. No, I mean, my boss at the time, who's became a mentor for me and still is a mentor to this day. Um, she took me seriously. She saw that I was ambitious, that I was really passionate about doing this, and that's part of I think what landed me the job is that it wasn't that I wanted to constantly be doing more. I wanted to like build. I wanted to, constantly be just improving. And she wanted someone with a growth mindset and that could learn. And I definitely, was not nearly ready. I'd argue that even now you're never really ready for what the role and the level of responsibility that comes with this. You're just not ready for it. It's a tough place to be, but folks like that help get me prepared. And so yeah, she took me seriously as much as I now look back and kind of cringe and say, it's kind of ridiculous. But she saw the ambition in me, took a chance on me, and then and I think it's paid off in a strong way. And now she is the COO at EA of studios, and so she's gone on to do just incredible things in her career. And so it's been awesome, being able to watch and learn from her over the years as well.
That's really cool. That's really awesome to hear. Um, so you mentioned that each of your kind of experiences at like 2K, Blizzard, Netflix films and games, you kind of worked with doing different things. How did those skills help you, or how valuable did you think that they were when you started with Midwest?
It all was valuable. It all get so what each of these skills and the experience gives you is perspective on what you're doing, how you're doing it, and that is such an important piece of this is having the greater perspective, having gone through it before. I put out and been involved with over 100 video game titles at this point. And so I've seen it, and it's different levels. Sometimes I'm, not as involved, but like kind of helping in little ways. Sometimes I'm heavily involved in the title, throughout. And and so I've seen so many different scenarios happen. Anything that could happen, I've probably seen happen at this point. And so nothing surprises me, and that's really important, especially as I've taken on this leadership role of reminding my team and reminding the people around us the perspective of things. And so all of those experiences have given me an incredible perspective, being able to take a step back, and understand what's happening and try to strategically align towards the next opportunity, always focused on how we problem solve a situation, how we find new paths forward. All of that is so key, and that's what I learned throughout my career is how to problem solve, how to keep perspective, and that's really like what helped to set me up for success in this role.
Awesome. Um, so in 2020, you returned to the University of Wisconsin Green Bay as a board member, where you helped advise the creation of the Esports Center. Since then, you've moved on to become an advisory board member. We're kind of moving away from games just for a second, but how has it felt to how does it feel to give back to the community that you spent a lot of time in, but also, where you got your education? What's that been like?
Yeah, it's been weird to be honest. You leave college as like, just one of many. And then suddenly you go out and do a couple things and it's things that are, at least with bigger companies that are kind of known, or did something that got some recognition. And then they suddenly want you to come back, and then they want you to represent, and then they want like they, the fact that I'm attached to Net or was attached to Netflix is, it's an attraction point for them. And it's been interesting coming back to help because, I think what's awesome is the University of Wisconsin Green Bay is trying to listen and adjust and grow as a university. And so I have direct conversations with the chancellor, with some of the deans, with a lot of the key folks making the important decisions for the university's future. And, it's awesome, like being part of and getting to contribute to a university that is actively trying to change as the environment around us in education is changing drastically and becoming so much more challenging than it used to be. And it's awesome to see them embrace that and then being able to contribute to that. And it aligns very much with what I'm trying to do and trying to get more for this industry in the Midwest. And so it's been an awesome experience, being able to come back and give back and get involved, and try to make positive change. I've some of it's just giving feedback because they're trying to get perspectives outside of the norms that they typically have. And in Wisconsin, with so many staying here, or leaving and never coming back, we don't always get that outside perspective. And so they've embraced that. The fact that I've been gone in California the last 13 years, been traveling the world, all the experiences that I have, they're trying to take some of that and bring it into what they're doing at the university.
Awesome. So since founding Midwest in May of 2023, you guys have published 3 games, and you've got 5 more on the way, listed on your site. Uh, how has it been? You know, that's a lot over a little more than a year now. Um, how has it been, and how has it felt, being able to help these studios put out their games?
I mean, it's the fun, rewarding part about what we do. Um, Putting out a video game is really challenging. So few people in the world's history, or moving forward, will ever get the chance to put out a video game. And so being able to be part of that with a studio is just amazing. And we move really, really, really fast. Typically, a new publisher does not get a game out within the first year of existence, let alone what will end up being essentially 4 games out, about a year and a month into existence. Because we just put out a game on September 10th, called Hive Jump 2 Survivors, that is doing pretty well in market right now and getting some really positive reviews. We're very positive on Steam right now. And then we have 2 more coming up over the next 30 days. So we have 3 games in 30 days. And the team is trying to support these developers, trying to do everything that they possibly can to make the game as successful in market as possible. Yeah, it feels good to help them, especially for developers that maybe would have been overlooked or not, gotten the support that they deserve, going to market. And so I'm glad that we can help them with that.
Awesome. Just a side note, I actually got Hive Jump 2 Survivors, and I had a really busy day last night, and I hopped on around like probably like 10 or 11, and I was like, I'll just play for 20 or 30 minutes and then I'll go to bed. I ended up playing for like an hour and a half before I finally got off. So it's really fun and congrats on that. I'm excited to go back because I unlocked the first so there's like the seven difficulties or whatever. You you help with the game, but I'm
Right.
really excited to go
Yeah.
back to that. Um, so you guys kind of have a motto, great games come from anywhere. And the games that you guys have helped publish and you will publish later on come from some really unique places. I know that you've got one in Mexico, Ohio, Wisconsin, Germany. How do you guys continue to prioritize and help studios from locations or regions that aren't typically known for putting out games or don't have a super big game industry? Or
Yeah. It creates challenges for sure. But that's where I see the opportunity. You know, there are so many talented folks overlooked in these regions, and that is our mission: is to find the incredible talent, support them to go to market in these other places. And yeah, it creates unique challenges. Sometimes, we're working with a studio from Turkey, where language barrier is absolutely exists between what we're doing, but we work through it, and we have to have patience with what we're doing, but we just believe that it's going to be worth it because what they're building and how they're approaching things is just really impressive, and they just simply are overlooked because of where they are, and that's not necessarily a good way to evaluate it. And our ability to be flexible and adjust to the needs of the developer is something that we prioritize, and ultimately that will lead to success over time because we'll find something that that will end up becoming a big hit that no one else would have considered simply because of where it is. And so, yeah, there's challenges with it, but I see those as opportunities to do something somebody else isn't doing. That gives us a leg up potentially. And I just think more content is going to come local to global from different places. We saw it at Netflix. There's been so many big hits from South Korea and Germany and other places around the world that were local content, that were local stories that became big global sensations. And I think we're going to see that more in the game space as well.
awesome. Um, so you just mentioned it earlier, a few minutes ago, but congrats again. Hive Jump 2 Survivors received a full release on Steam yesterday, the 10th, which may be, I don't know how far away whenever this video gets released, but as of the recording, that was yesterday. Um, you mentioned yourself, you guys have got two more games coming out within 30 days, and you've got Dark Sky set to release on the 24th. With all these, releases so close together, what's like the atmosphere been like with you guys? Have you guys kind of been like running around? Has it been really high octane? What's going on at Midwest right now?
Yeah, I mean, run around Slack because we're like remote. We're remote first, so all of our activity is via Slack. Yeah, it is, we've been preparing for it. We encourage the team to really rest as much as they could, especially ahead of it. Make sure they take the time when they get the chance to rest. Like, the big focus of ours is not getting into kind of crunch or any of that kind of stuff. Now, there's certain times where you just work longer for sure. Like, that always that's always going to be the case, but that shouldn't be a consistent or an expectation. And so a lot of what we're focused around is how we can best support our team in this moment. Because yeah, there's a lot, and we've kind of acknowledged that there's a lot going on, and it's going to be a stressful period. Sometimes and no matter what, like, our team gets along incredibly well, but they're going to get probably snippy at some point or stressed. I think the understanding that, hey, we're all in this together. It's going to be a lot to figure out, but we'll do it together. And so, it's been cool to see, there's even been, some Slack channels created, one of them called like Kudos, just like calling out some of the great things that others are doing. And so it's been awesome just to watch the team, like, essentially, like, really call out the amazing things that each one of them is doing and praising like, the effort that's going on, and staying together as a team. And I think that's what I love to see, within the org. And I hope that we've set that out up from a cultural standpoint of like how we expect people to work together. And a lot of that, we had been talking about during offsites and other things earlier than this, and I think it's set up well during this more stressful period because there's no matter what, even when you perfectly plan something, it just doesn't always work the way you want it to, and there becomes these moments of a lot going on at once. And it's like those moments will define you because like that's really if you set up things well, it will go well. If you haven't, then you need to go back and give yourself feedback, give the team feedback, really review things, see if you can adjust things so that it's better the next time.
Awesome. Gotcha. Yeah, I had a couple internships over the summer where I worked remote. It was really nice, but the only issue that ever came was like, you got so many people working in different time zones that the communication kind of comes in
Yeah.
at odd times sometimes. But you guys partnered with recently, you just partnered with t Twitch streamer King Gathalion. Um, in the future, well, first of all, how has that been partnering with him? But also in the future going forward, do you guys plan on partnering with more streamers, maybe YouTubers, just content creators in general?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's been awesome. Corey, who is Gathalion, is just an incredible talent, incredible person. We're fortunate to get to collaborate with him and what he's doing. We just got really early alignment. We both have a similar vision around what we can do positively in this industry. And so it made a ton of sense to partner up. And really, like it's more less so for us and more so for our developers to have somebody that they can partner with, that they can get feedback from. Getting that again perspective from an outside lens of somebody that is in this every day with audiences, and that creates a really, I think, positive feedback loop that makes it positive for everybody, positive for for our developers, for Corey, for the consumers that play the games, because then they get better quality games, they get more perspective into the games, more feedback in the games. They have an advocate, really pushing for the positive changes that we all want with it as well. And so it's created a great environment. And then from a content creators, yeah, like we're looking to do more with folks over time. Um, I think there's a lot of opportunity to engage content creators in a really collaborative way, giving them access and opportunities within what we do as a publisher. And I hope more publishers open their doors and don't. It's not such a closed off system. Like there's a way to do all of this that can be highly collaborative, and makes the games better, makes more people aware of the games that are happening. And so I'm really excited about what we can kind of do with that.
Yeah, going back to what you said that King Gathalion is kind of not just for you guys, but for the developers. I can understand that, I with my internship this summer, I worked with a lot of artists. I'm no artist myself, but they'd share their pixel art or their sprites or animations for the game, and they'd say like we want feedback from somebody that's not trained in this to see, what can be improved upon. So I definitely can imagine that that's super, uh, not rel I guess kind of reliable, but effective. Just nice to have some feedback from somebody that's not trained in a specific skill, if that makes sense. But so recently you've been elected president of the Wisconsin Game Alliance. Congratulations. Um, so, what do you want people to know about Wisconsin and its place in the industry?
I think the biggest thing is that Wisconsin is a hub for video games. Madison houses studios that work on Call of Duty, Apex Legends, PUBG, Diablo 4, New World, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, WWE 2K, Elder Scrolls Online, Disney Heroes, and then a ton of indie games as well. You know, one of which that we've signed, Floor is What, from Pyramid Lake Games. And so there is tremendous talent, and Madison's really become a live service hub. If you think about some of those games like Call of Duty, PUBG, Apex Legends, Elder Scrolls Online, they're all live service. I mean, Disney Heroes, live service. And so we've created this unique hub, and a lot of it comes from Raven being around for like 34, maybe 35 years at this point. Um, and and they really built a strong foundation that a lot of others have come into. EA built the Respawn studio to house Apex Legends, and are growing that studio. And so it's exciting to see that happen, and that you know Wisconsin has become a hub in the industry, and then complementing it with events like MDev, which is the largest game industry focused event in the Midwest. And then all the other things that are happening, me coming in as a publisher, uh, Big Mode is another publisher based out of Wisconsin, run by Video Game Donkey, a big time YouTube streamer, or not streamer, but YouTube video content creator. Um, and uh, and there's a lot happening right here in Wisconsin and then in the larger Midwest as well. But obviously, with my role with the WGA, is really thinking about how we continue to advance what's happening in Wisconsin. We're working on a tax incentive. We're trying to get more socials, game jams, events, and opportunities for people to network and connect. There's so many people here that work in games, want to work in games. We need to create more opportunities. And so that's really what I want people to know is this is a home for games. It's already a home for games. It has long been a home for games. Dungeons and Dragons was created in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. It has been a game. It has been a place for RPG tabletop games, for board games, for video games. It is an incredible place to make games, and I hope that more build here, more invest here, and more uh, really stay here and make games here.
Great, great sell. Awesome. Well, that's it for questions I have about Midwest and yourself. At this point in the interview, I've got a couple questions that are, I guess, more geared for fun, interactive stuff. So there's only a couple of these, but the first one is something I ask everybody, and they always seem to have a tough time, and it's not a trick question or anything. I just want to know what's your favorite game of all time?
Of all time, that's not so tough for me. Of all time, like I always have to go back to Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. There's just for me such nostalgia. Like video games represent that game so much for me. It's just just the look, the feel, the music, um, just everything about it was so well done. So yeah, Legend of Zelda was definitely the one for me, and and then recently, uh, like there's so many good games that come out, but the one that I've spent the most amount of time on, just because it matches me and my personality and what I do all day, I guess. I love resource management colony simulation games. So like RimWorld is like I've put so many hours into RimWorld.
Yeah.
It's such a great game in so many ways. It's so deep. You always are learning something new. And I just remember the first time, like I forget, I must have been hundreds hours into a colony that I was creating, and I finally like did enough to build like a ship to take off, and of course I made too big of a ship because I just couldn't not make a big ship. And then I take off, and then I very quickly realized it was not airtight, uh, and my crew died. And so, like, nothing like going 100+ hours into a game and then you just completely fail at a game. And so that one has a special place in my heart too.
If you like, have you ever played it's one of my favorite games of all time. Have you ever played Stellaris?
Yes,
Uh
yes. Another great
I was
one.
gonna say that might be a good thing to play if you like RimWorld. I love Stellaris. So next up I've got what I like to call well, they're just blind rankings. So I've got uh you know a criteria, and then I've got five characters that you have to blind rank without knowing who's next based on the criteria. And in kind of celebration of Hive Jump 2, uh, you're going to be blind ranking bug and video alien video game characters. I couldn't really tell
Okay.
if they were bugs or aliens or both, so I just kind of threw them in. Um, so
Okay.
okay, so your f first kind of bug or alien is Hollow Knight, 1 through 5.
Hollow Knight. Um, I mean that one is pretty incredible. I'm gonna have to. Well, I gotta start right in the middle. I would put it as a three,
3.
because I just don't know what else is coming. And
All right. Um, uh, your next one is Caterpie from Pokemon.
I think yeah, it doesn't evolve in anything special. So let's put that as a five.
5. The next one is probably one of my personal favorites of the bunch. It's the Arbiter Halo.
Let's do a two on that. We'll see if I regret that later.
Next, you have the head crabs from Half-Life.
Let's do a four on that.
4.
Okay, let's see what's gonna be my number
Um,
one.
your number four, geez, I don't even know if I know how to pronounce his name. Cryptosporidium 137 from Destroy All Humans.
Oh, okay. Well, I
Yeah,
mean,
it's crypto for short, I think is what he's called.
yeah, I mean, literally, just a destructive alien. So yeah, I guess it works as my number one. That's not too bad.
Awesome. Okay. Um, so the next thing that we've got up is something new that I've been doing. So it's kind of like a draft fight. So I've got like a boss. You don't know who he is till the end, and I've got three characters that you can draft, but you have to draft them based off of a criteria I give you, and then we'll see if your team will be able to beat the boss, so we can agree on that. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
All right. So your first character that you can draft is any character from any video game that uses a sword.
Okay. Well, Link.
Think. Okay. That's the second time in one of these that somebody's picked Link, and I've only done it like 3 times.
I
Um,
mean,
so any video game character from a video game adaptation of a movie.
a video. Well, James Bond,
James Bond.
GoldenEye. Come on,
All right, and then your final guy is um, any video game character that can be classified as a soldier.
as a soldier. Well, Master Chief.
Master
This,
Chief.
this is quite the lineup I got
So you got Link, James Bond, and Master Chief.
here.
Um, and the boss that they're actually fighting is the Crusher, which is the first boss in Hive Jump 2 Survivors. So
Okay.
like a Link, Bond, and Master Chief versus kind of like a big alien kind of
I think
guy
they're gonna. I
thing.
think they're gonna take him down. Like they got everything they need to take down a Crusher.
I think Master Chief can probably throw like a plasma grenade on him or something and just
Yeah.
blow
I
them
mean,
up.
Master Chief should be in Hive Jump. Like, maybe I
Yeah.
should reach out to the Xbox team and be like, "Hey, you want Master? You know, there's not a Halo game coming out anytime soon. You want to bring him into Hive Jump too?"
Maybe get like a costume for him at the very
Yeah.
least or something like
I
that.
mean, they to be honest, they look somewhat similar. You know, you can only make so many like alien fighting soldiers and not have them look similar.
All right. Well, that's it for the two, fun questions. The last thing I'm going to ask you here before we head off, thank you so much for the interview and taking time out of your day. I really appreciate it. Um, but before we head off, is there, anything else you'd like to add? Just closing out.
I mean, I guess the big thing is, help support what we're doing, and how you do that is really wish listing our titles on Steam. You can just look up Midwest Games, you can see all of our titles. um, Wish listing, obviously purchasing, but reviewing and sharing makes a world of difference in our ability to ultimately turn those dollars into further support for game developers in this region. And who knows, so that might mean support for somebody that maybe listens to this, or or somebody else that they know over time. And so we just need all the support we can get. We're building from something really small, but trying to really empower this region and other underserved regions to be able to do more. Uh, Wishlist Dark Sky is coming out on the 24th. And purchase that. It is an incredible title from a studio in New Mexico, former Riot Wargaming folks that set up shop in a very non-traditional place, and have created a really awesome deck builder tactical RPG game that I really love personally. And then we also have Duck Paradox coming um, uh, in October as well, which is going to be really exciting. That's been early access, really highly positively reviewed game. Very, very difficult, but that one's coming soon too. So definitely check out those games. We'll have a lot more. We're going to announce some more games this fall, and then yeah, all the support, especially on social as well, that we can get. Again, it goes a really long way to what we're trying to build and who we're trying to support.
Awesome. Well, thank you again. This was Benjamin Qualo with Midwest. Thank you so much.